Η διαβόητη σικελική μαφία μάλλον βρήκε το μάστορά της. Και δεν αναφερόμαστε σε κάποιον δικαστή, εισαγγελέα ή αστυνομικό, αλλά σε μια ομάδα πολιτών οι οποίοι αποφάσισαν να τη χτυπήσουν στη ρίζα της. Ποια είναι αυτή η ρίζα της? Η κοινωνική αποδοχή. Ο σκοπός λοιπόν είναι να αποκαθιλώσουν την καλή για κάποιο λόγο φήμη που έχει ορισμένους ανθρώπους η μαφία και να δείξουν τι πραγματικά είναι. Στιγεροί, δολοφόνοι και η νούμερο ένα πηγή εγκληματικότητας για όλη τη Σικελία.
Here, the steps of Teatro Massimo, it's one of the location of one of the most famous movies about the mafia, The Godfather #3. And these movies gave a completely twisted representation of what the mafia is and what the Sicilians are. So somehow suggesting the idea that all the Sicilians are mafiosi. And with this tour, we would like to try to give you a completely different image of Sicilians, and we want to pass you real information of what the mafia really is and what they did to this country. We want to show how many Sicilians struggled against the mafia and how many of them have been killed, and how strong today, nowadays, is the anti-mafia movement and anti-mafia culture here in Sicily.
Πρόκειται για τον τοίχο της νομιμότητας, δηλαδή ένα μνημείο αφιερωμένο σε αυτούς οι οποίοι έχασαν τη ζωή τους στον πόλεμο κατά της μαφίας.
So there are portraits of lots of people, men and women, who have been killed by the mafia. Most of them are members of the law enforcement, policemen, carabinieri, or sometimes she's, for example, the first policewoman killed by the mafia in 1992. And some of them are magistrates, prosecutors, anti-mafia prosecutors, like Borsellino, for example. And you can see also some of the members of the police escort that died with him in 1992, or bodyguards and that were protecting the life of Giovanni Falcone here, probably the most famous Sicilian anti-mafia prosecutor. He died in 1992 because of a bomb that the mafia put under the motorway. So when his car passed, an entire section of the motorway blew away. He died together with his wife, Francesca Morvillo, and three escort people, police escort people died as well. So it's this wall basically cover the most terrible years for the Sicilian history. So between the late 70s and the early 90s, the mafia run by the Corleone family reached an extreme level of violence, and they killed whoever was on the way, or their enemies have been killed either with Kalashnikov guns or bombs. This is Piazza della Memoria. It's a memorial dedicated to the prosecutors and judges who have been killed by the mafia between the 70s and 1992, when Falcone, his wife Francesca Morvillo, and Paolo Borsellino, his colleague, were murdered. So they are, fortunately, the last ones after the murder of Falcone and Borsellino, since the mafia started to experience the backlash of their violence. Finally, people in Palermo, in Sicily, all over Italy, start to rebel, start to protest against the mafia and against the corrupted politicians, the corrupted politic that were not able to protect people like Falcone and Borsellino. So 1992 for Italy was a turning point. I mean, after that murders, finally, the Sicilian people and the Italian people all together said, basta, enough.
Buongiorno. In particular, they are specialized in souvenirs, local products.
This is a souvenir and local product shops where you can find, Sicilian wine and liquors and Sicilian chocolate and pastries and so on. And it's one of the 1,000 business that joined Addio Pizzo. So it's one of the mafia-free business. So the owner of this place, as the owner of any of these the Addio Pizzo shops, had the courage to rebel against the mafia, to say no to the mafia, and they put a label on their shops. This is the Addio Pizzo campaign logo. So it states that here not a single cent will go to the mafia. They don't pay protection racket. And this is also a message that the shopkeepers give to the mafia itself. So this sticker, this logo says, stay away from here, because if you enter here, I will go to the police. I will report you to the police. So the mafia start to learn this lesson, the meaning of this message. When we started with Addio Pizzo, the mafia tried to push the movement down, destroying one of the business, so setting fire to one of them, and they failed. The movement reacted in a very well, very well, and from that moment on, the mafia changed the game strategy. So as far as we know, the mafia prefer now to stay away from the Addio Pizzo shops. So the extortionists, so the mafia man who is in charge of getting the money from the shops, when they see this sticker, they step away. They skip the shop and they try to get into another shop. So this is a kind of beware to the dog sign. Means do not dare to enter here, because I will go straight to the police if you do it.
Όπως είχε συμβεί και με τα όπλα του Μουσολίνι που τα είχε ευλογήσει ο Πάπας, έτσι και στην υπόθεση της μαφίας η Εκκλησία διατηρούσε μια ανοχή έως ύποπτη σιωπή. Τελικά όμως, οι καιροί άλλαξαν και η ίδια η Εκκλησία απέκτησε και τον δικό της μάρτυρα.
For years and years, the Catholic Church was not interested in attacking the mafia, was kind of tolerant towards the mafia. John Paul II in Agrigento in 1993, for the first time, attacked the mafiosi. He started to talk to them, saying, "You repent because you are not Christian." So that was another turning point for the history of the mafia and anti-mafia. The first time in which the Vatican openly spoke against the mafia. From that moment on, all the following popes have been strongly against the mafia. In the past, there was a lot of tolerance, and sometimes even some priests or monks who were very close to the mafia. Some of them even kind of members of the criminal organization. Only few of them were courageous and brave enough to take part on the anti-mafia movement. One of the, for sure, by far the most famous anti-mafia priest was killed in 1993 as well, and is buried here. His name is Don Pino Puglisi. Pino Puglisi was a priest who was in a peripheral area of Palemo, who was trying to offer a different opportunity to young children, trying to take them away from the mafia. And he was killed in the day of his birthday. The mafia tried to hide this murder. They didn't want to show clearly that the mafia killed a priest, but eventually the murderer, the killers, repented, and they confessed that they killed him because of he was giving trouble to the local mafia family. And now he's buried here, and one day he could become even a saint, Saint Pino Puglisi, martyr of the mafia.
So, Eduardo, what are the first results of your initiative?
Well, the first result was to create awareness about the problem, and awareness about the fact that pizza is not just a problem of the shopkeepers, it's a problem of the entire community. We succeeded in creating awareness, and then after awareness, the community started to take its responsibility. This was actually the very first step. After that, after awareness and responsibility, then we start to put in effect these things. And so we start to help one by one people to emerge, to get free from the mafia. And so now it is possible to refuse to pay protection money. It is possible to go to the police and report without expecting to be killed or your business to be destroyed. So somehow this is an effect of a 20-year-old, 30-year-long activity.
So no more killings by Cosa Nostra in Sicily?
Well, Cosa Nostra started to avoid killing people after 1992, basically. So they prefer to be as more silent as possible because it's more convenient for them, so they can focus on business. This does not mean that the mafia disappeared. The mafia still exists. Sometimes even when it's more silent, the mafia makes more money. So this is why we decided that it was necessary to remind people that the mafia is still here, and we have to continue the struggle that started many years ago.
What is your opinion about all the souvenirs that we see around of Cosa Nostra and all that? It's something like a sightseeing, a highlight in Sicily. Even though Sicily has so many great things to show,
Yes.
many of them.
Yes. In general, of course, I don't like the way that the shops, they try to get
make
some
money.
Using the worst image of the mafia and confirming some cliches. So the Godfather's shirts or magnet, they don't help in winning our battle against the mafia and against the stereotypes that are still make over the Sicilians.
Όπως το διαπιστώνουμε, η Cosa Nostra έχει δεχτεί ένα ανεπανόρθωτο πλήγμα το οποίο ήρθε από τα κάτω, από την κοινωνία. Στην Ελλάδα βέβαια και ειδικά στην Αθήνα έχουμε περισσότερες από 20 εκτελέσεις μεταξύ μαφιόζων τα τελευταία 5 χρόνια. Τελικά, πού είναι πιο επικίνδυνα, όταν πέφτει η νύχτα στο Παλέρμο ή όταν πέφτει η νύχτα στην Αθήνα?